All right, it's Andreas Hale, senior combat sports writer of the Sporting News, and I'm here with two legends in pro wrestling. I'm sure I could call both of y'all legends at this point. Y'all have done enough work in this industry that I feel like I can say that. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal are challenging FTR at Double or Nothing for the tag team titles here in Las Vegas. But gentlemen, how are you doing today?
Good, man. I appreciate you having us on. Me and Jay been making the media rounds. I'm glad to hear that you're right here in. Do we still call it Sin City, or is that dated? That may be dated me.
We still call it Sin City. It's totally fine with me.
Yeah, no, exciting. It's always very cool. And, we've been doing a meeting and talking about just AEW as a whole, as a brand. It's pretty cool. Tonight we're at Grand Garden Arena, Sunday at T-Mobile. It doesn't get any bigger than that in Vegas.
Absolutely. So here's where I want to start. 17 years ago, I was watching TNA. Jeff Jarrett versus Jay Lethal for the then NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Scott Steiner interferes and blows it for you, Jay. But I want to go back to that match, but the relationship that you guys have forged over these, it feels like about 2 decades. I think, Jeff, you were there when Jay first broke into this business, right? How did this become this relationship today and I remember Jay being the young buck back in 2006. Now you guys are a tag team.
Well, I think it mainly stemmed from the amount of respect that I had for Jeff Jarrett. And we just, I think he felt that respect and he appreciated it, and we became friends. And it's a friendship that has lasted all of this time. And I do think that moment in time that you're talking about when I wrestled Jeff Jarrett, I really think that is when our in-ring chemistry really started. It didn't start a few months ago when he debuted at AEW. It didn't start in Nashville when we beat the crap out of that old man, Ric Flair. It started way back when I wrestled Jeff Jarrett for that NWA championship. And dare I say that what makes two wrestlers a great tag team is the length of time that they've spent together. Because time is it's one of the greatest tools you can have as a tag team wrestler, as any wrestler, but especially as a tag team. Time will make chemistry grow, your timing better. You can think of something and not have to verbally communicate it with your partner, and they've already on the right track. So dare I say that our chemistry, and we've been together way longer than FTR has been together, and they tout themselves as one of the greatest tag teams in the world. Now, I don't take much away from them. They are a really good tag team, but Jeff Jarrett and I are that much better. And the proof is in the pudding when you go back, and you yourself said how long ago that match was. 17 years ago is when our chemistry started. So I think when you look at the facts on paper, Jeff Jarrett and his wealth of knowledge for professional wrestling far outweighs, without even adding mine, far outweighs FTR's experience and their knowledge of wrestling. So on paper, I think we are definitely 100% looking at new AEW tag team champions. And then what a match this is, because then you got Mark Briscoe, who's not going to be a factor in the match, but he does just happen to be one of my best friends for over 20 years, who is the special guest referee. And he got pal driven. You know, that was kind of messed up. He took a pile driver from Dax, so Dax claims he didn't know. But anyway, I think right here in Las Vegas, everybody's going to see the crowning of the new AEW tag team champions, and I'm excited. And the main reason I'm excited is, well, there's two. One, I've never had gold yet. I've tried, and now that Jeff is here with me, it's more of a reality. And two, the second reason I'm excited, it goes back to 17 years ago. How crazy is it that 17 years ago, Jeff Jarrett was my boss, and now flash forward in a few days, he's now my tag team partner, and we're going to win tag team gold. I think what a full circle moment this is for me.
And Andreas, I'll be quick on this. Our chemistry started for the first time that you watch it, on the TNA screen. But if you rewind just a few more years before that, in Wayne, New Jersey, at a small independent promotion, that's the first time I laid eyes on Jay Lethal, saw his in-ring, its it factor, his charisma. I mean, when he was just getting started, little known fact, Mama Lethal has chased me around the ringside once or twice in the early days. But all kidding aside, you're a sporting guy, and we can come up with a bunch of duos. Who's your favorite sports duo? I mean, you got Stockton, Malone, do you have a sports duo?
It's either Jordan and Pippen or Rice and Montana.
Okay, perfect. That's really how I look at me and Jay, in that he does things I can't do. Well, he does a lot of things I'll never be able to do. And I think you can say the same thing. There's things that I bring to the table that are different. So two things that I think make a great tag team or a great duo is, one, trust. I trust him with my life, his in-ring ability, his mind. We just go way back. And also, the confidence. And so when you have trust and confidence in a tag team, that's really what we bring to the table. And when you surround it with my wife and Sanjay and One of Billion Satnam, it is really a unique, massive box office attraction. It's what I'll call us.
Could you have ever imagined, though, almost 2 decades ago, that things would come full circle and you guys would be in this, we could still call it a startup. I don't think people realize how young AEW is, but here you both are in this company, in this prominent position. When did this start lining up that you both would be in AEW?
Oh, wow. I'll let Jay go first and tag on the end of it.
Oh, wow. So when did it start to line up? I'm going to compare this to, and not to change the subject, but I'm going to compare it to the visit that we just had on the farm with Mark Briscoe. So in professional wrestling, most of the time when the cameras start rolling for some kind of, any kind of skit or vignette that's not done in the ring, at some point there's a bunch of writers who sit down and they write some ideas out on the table and Jeff is going to say this, or Mark Briscoe is going to do this, or that's not how that whole thing came to be. And I don't think it would have had near the amount of success it did if that was how it came to be. We just got a group of us together. The only plan was to meet at the farm, and we all got together and said, hey, I think this will work. And we started rolling, and magic was created. I think that compares to this instance here. I don't think there was ever a plan that, further down the line, 2-3 months from now, we're going to get Jeff and bring him. It was like all the pieces have just always fallen into place. And I think that's one of the magic. I think it is the crowning magic part of not only wrestling, but AEW. It's how the whole company operates, this magic falling into place magically. And I think that's how this whole thing came about. It was never some grand scheme plan for any of us to ever be together. And I think that's why it's working so well.
Yeah, and to dovetail on that, the authenticity, you can call it real, you can call it whatever it is. Jay, we'll call it the ownership change in Ring of Honor and the brand. This time last year, I was SVP at WWE. Those worlds, that just radically changed. Then, Ric Flair last match coming on StarCast weekend, that wasn't any grand plan. Those things fell into place. His real relationship with Rick, my father's 30, 40-year relationship with Rick, it being in Nashville, call it my connections in Nashville, how all Ric Flair's last match came together, Karen being there, the chemistry that we, ignited as a tag team, and then just the timing of AEW. When you kind of look at what you're just kind of talking about, yes, Andreas, I'm really super glad that you said that and not me. AEW in under 5 years now has 5 hours of broadcast television globally in prime time. We're doing Double or Nothing weekend. I already touched on Grand Garden and T-Mobile. And then, Forbidden Door sold out the day in Toronto. We're going to a very cultural event, global event, Calgary Stampede Collision. That's one of the dates there. That's a really special event. The Owens coming back. Then, all just Wembley, all in, all out. It's really mesmerizing how things just continue in a lot of ways to fall into place. And NJ's partnership, tag team, although it might have started 15, 16, 18, 20 years ago, how the stars have aligned, and here we are headed for tag team gold.
Jeff, I got to ask you this, because I've been a fan since I was a kid, and I've watched you for a long, long time, and I followed your career everywhere it's gone. But one of the most stunning things for me was watching you show up at GCW, and it felt like this big You know, I remember being in my group chat with my wrestling friends and saying, holy shit, it's Jeff Jarrett in GCW. Can you talk about the last few years for you and how they've been? Because you've done some really phenomenal things early in your career, but this feels like something different, something special, something you couldn't have predicted the way this is rolling for you.
If you listen to my podcast, I kind of say it tongue in cheek, but it's not tongue in cheek. There's BS. That's before sobriety. But, you know, I went through a real dark time, and then kind of coming out of that, inducted into the Hall of Fame, which I would have, Andreas, if you said you would have called that, I'm calling you a liar. Jeff Jarrett, the WWE Hall of Fame, was never, on anybody's bingo card. But, you know, you talk about that, and then, you know, being an executive at WWE for a while, and then, you know, I made my mind up kind of coming out of the pandemic and had no plans. That's kind of the theme of this call. I had no plans. I just kind of told myself, I'm going to get in the best possible shape I can. I really, you know, drilled down on that, got in good shape. GCW, that kind of a line. They were doing the show at Hammerstein. I've always tipped my cap to Effie. He's a unique, super, super box office attraction. You know, who would have thought? You know, I'll let Karen speak for herself when I tell her, yeah, I'm headed to Atlantic City. When? On New Year's Day. So, you know, that's how 2022 kicked off. And, you know, it caught people. You kind of admitted it. There was a lot of people that I got texts like, what? That surprised me. Had a twist on the character, Last Outlaw, and, you know, just kind of rolling through things. So it's been a blast. I feel very, very blessed to be a part of what I'm doing right now.
And Jay and Jeff, you can chime in on this too. Challenging FTR. How different is this than almost killing Ric Flair in his last match? These are two wildly different matches in terms of what can happen, what we can look for. We didn't know what to expect in Ric Flair's last match. What we got was wildly entertaining. But this is against the so-called best tag team in the world. So how do these two matches differ for you guys in mindset heading into what's going to happen on Sunday night?
The little tongue-in-cheek answer is, in one match, we struggled to keep someone alive, and in this match, we won't. But to be honest, I think the preparation, and this is a very real answer for me, the preparation to me was the same. I'm thinking about the fact that I'm teaming with someone who used to be my boss, someone that I've watched growing up on television, I look up to. Standing across from us, also someone that I respect and look up to, someone that I hold in high regard as far as their in-ring wrestling capabilities. And in that match, I was talking about Ric Flair and Andrade, two fantastic wrestlers. It's the same style right now. Oh, no, my headset is dying. It's the same thing happening now. Me and Jeff, my former boss, now my tag team partner, got a lot of respect for him, look up to him. He's got so much knowledge and little critiques and tips he can give me here and there, just make me a better wrestler. And standing across from us is really one of the best tag teams in the world. Take nothing away from FTR. When they say that they're one of the best, they really do mean it. And they've got the respect from the fans and some of the boys in the back. And especially me, when I watch what they do, I go, man, those guys have got it. But one of the things that Jeff and I have over them is the experience together. I do believe that one thing that makes a great tag team is the amount of time that they've been together. And you yourself mentioned that Jeff Jarrett and I have been together since 2017. Since 17 years ago. Sorry, not 2017. And I think that okay. Hello?
We can hear you. Keep talking.
Okay. Yeah. And on paper, there's a shoe, and we're going to win the AEW Tag Team Championships. But there was no difference in the preparation for these matches to me. They both get my serious and utmost respect. They both make me knuckle down and really bring out the best in what I've got. And along with Jeff as well, I'm sure he feels the same way. So there's no real preparing. And the tongue-in-cheek answer is one we tried to keep someone alive, and in this one we won't.
Jay, I want to follow up with the relationship with Mark Briscoe. That match,
yes,
obviously. I'm sure you've been asked this a million times, but as wrestling fans, we were at home choked up watching you two work. How the challenge of keeping it together that night, because there's so many emotions and Mark is dialed in, and it seemed like you had to be dialed in with him. Can you guys kind of just talk about that night? And I don't know if there was a weight lifted off of your shoulders when the 3 count happened, or just the emotional gravity and weight. And then Jeff, I want you to chime in on what you witnessed seeing something like that.
Okay, so to start it off, it's one of the toughest things I've ever had to do. And the day started when I knew I was going to eventually, in the locker room, at some point, I have to come face to face with Mark Briscoe. And I just knew that, man, I just got to try to keep it together. And the wild part was, and it's the God's honest truth, when I got together with Mark Briscoe, instead of me, trying to console him or trying to make sure that he's strong, it was the flip side. I feel like he was more so consoling me and be like, oh, you trying to keep me together. And his reasoning, which really resonated with me, is because we both, I don't know if you got to know Jay Briscoe, but to have either one of us crying or saddened, if Jay Briscoe was there, I can't say, because I can't curse, I don't know, but I can't say the bad words that he'd probably say, but he would call us every name in the book. Look at you over there crying. So there's like, that's why Mark Briscoe was easier for him to hold it together. He said, which made total sense. Well, anyway, another tough part was I go to the ring, and then when I get to the ring, we go to commercial break. And while in commercial break, I had no idea I wish they had told me, especially since we were in commercial, so it wouldn't have mattered. But while we were in commercial break, they played this video on the screen. And I don't know if they played it on TV for you guys eventually, but they played one of, just with everything going on, it was, all I can describe it as one of the saddest videos that I've ever seen in my life, because my friend is gone. Man, that video broke me down. And I remember the ring announcer at the time, Bobby Cruz, he gave me his handkerchief. Like, he was, oh man, because he could see when we came back on television, I was able to pull it together. Man, it really felt like the opposite of what I thought was going to happen. Going into the match, I thought I was going to have to keep Mark Briscoe, help him keep it together. And it was the exact opposite. Mark Briscoe had to help me keep it together. And to this day, there has been nothing more in my life more tougher to get through. And I've been put through some pretty tough workouts. There's been nothing tougher to get through than that moment. Ultimately, I'm glad it happened. It was one of the only things I could think to pay tribute to a great friend of mine. But yeah, after the match, I definitely felt a weight was lifted, because the whole time I was worrying about whether or not I'd be able to get through this whole match without just breaking down. So after the 1, 2, 3, I was definitely like, oh, I got through that. So yeah, a weight was definitely lifted off my shoulders after that. But toughest thing to date that I've ever had to do in my life.
Andreas, I'll be quick here. I know we're running on time, but when I watched it, I think your question was going to be just my thoughts. Obviously, death is a finality of so much and so quick and so sudden in this case. Owen's passing, that was quick and sudden and we had Raw the next day. As of late, not long ago, my father passed away and I went out to Dynamite. So death is a finality of life. But when I watched the Briscoe funeral, the strength that the entire family showed, their faith really shone through. And at the end of the day, Jay Briscoe's name, obviously the passing, but more people were touched by Jay Briscoe, millions around the world. So I kind of looked at it, or tried to look at it from such a perspective. when my father passed away, the nice sentiments that were said from everybody, Rock, Vince, just on and on and on. With this case, my bud, one of my best friends, got to go to the ring and pay tribute. And in our business, and yes, it's scripted entertainment, all this, but the real emotion that Jay showed, it really showed the love that he had for Jay Briscoe, and that's what touched my heart.
Last question. We're gonna end this on a bright note. These tag team titles. If you guys win these tag team titles,
when we do,
if we
sorry.
win, right? Okay.
When
now go ahead, Audrey.
You win these tag team titles, what will it mean? Because you guys have held so much gold throughout your careers. How does these tag team titles differ than any other gold that you've carried around your waist, around your shoulder, and other promotions? What makes this so different?
Well, to me, I mentioned that it's a full circle moment, and until we win the tag team championships, and it's just me saying it. It isn't complete. So winning the tag team championships with a person who was my former boss, and throughout that time was a great friend, and now they're my tag team partner. Like I said before, what a full circle moment it's becoming, but it won't be a complete full circle moment until we win the AEW tag team championships. That's what that moment will mean to me, man. It just forced me to look back on life and say, it's wild how just everything just comes together and falls into place.
And look, you said you followed my career. So the first time I won the Intercontinental title, huge. First time I won the world title, huge. The Mega Camp Championship with AAA, that was really special to me because it was, outside of the U.S. borders and a completely different promotion, but very prestigious. So I won different titles at different times, but they were all, in a lot of ways, I never stopped and smelled the roses. The gratitude that I have for just being in this match is through the roof. But for me to have the opportunity to win tag team gold with Jay as my partner, my wife at ringside, another one of my best friends, Sanjay Satnam's a kid that is with the most potential of any guy on the AEW roster. I just can't put into words. It's going to be a top career moment for me, and in a lot of ways, very defining. That at this stage of my career, it's no secret. 55 years of age, it would be really, 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 really special.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had one more question. Do Dave Meltzer's star ratings matter to you guys?
It is another metric. So me being maybe an OCD in professional wrestling, I take in that is a common flaw of folks. I'm going to dismiss it because I don't like it. I want to hear the good, the bad, and ugly. In a lot of ways. So does it matter? Everything matters, but it's kind of what you put stock in, because I'll just not get too deep here. Serenity prayer. I can't change the way he feels about something, but I can listen, and I do.
About you, Jay?
I have never actively gone out and searched what his star ratings were, to be honest. It's not a knock on him. I've seen when people post or tweet, "Oh, Meltzer gave this amount of stars," and I think I'm on board with Jeff. As a professional wrestler, or any entertainer, or in any business on television, you gotta keep your ear to the ground to see what everybody's talking about, or how they perceive this, how they perceive that. It can only make you better. I do think that sometimes people get over worried with it, and it just can get to a point where it's not healthy. That's my only worry about it. But me personally, I've never actively sought out, let's see what Meltzer rated this. And like I said, that's not a knock on him. I know plenty of my good friends who take what he says to gospel, and that's cool. So, but yeah, I've never, they hold no, and I don't even want to say it because it feels like I'm talking bad about it, but they don't really hold any weight to me. I don't let them get to me or determine to me whether or not I've done a good or bad job. Because to me, it's just all about what I feel. but I do
I'll
keep my
say
ear
this,
to the ground, and I hear the stuff.
Yeah, I'm just in closing. My number one barometer will always be the people in the arena. They paid their money. They're there. They care enough to respond. And you have a focus group of your buying audience. They'll let you know. That's the number one barometer.
Well, there it is. Well, listen, Jeff, Jay, it has been a pleasure to talk to you guys. Good luck this Sunday. I can't wait to see it live and in person and in action. And congratulations, because to come full circle, I know the circle hasn't closed yet, but this is one hell of a career that you guys have had. This is some storybook stuff right here. So good luck to you guys. Can't wait to speak to you again. And again, congratulations, all the success.
Appreciate your time, Andreas.
All right, you guys take it easy.